NASA scientists believe New York City is actually sinking.
New York City Mayor has declared a state of emergency.
Even while the ground beneath your feet may appear to be stable, it is always swaying just a little bit, both horizontally and vertically, due to the movement of tectonic plates. In particular, New York City is sinking. And no, it's not due of all the recent floods, which resulted in commuters swimming on the West Village streets and vehicles getting stalled on the Franklin D. Roosevelt Highway for an extended period of time. Interferometric synthetic aperture radar (INSAR), a space-based technique, was employed by scientists at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory (JPL) between 2016 and 2023 to create a 3D model of the ground beneath New York City while tracking vertical land motion. They discovered that the area sank by an average of 0.06 inches, 1.6 millimeters, every year during this time. In general, portion of the ground beneath New York is naturally sinking. When an ice sheet blanketed New England some 24,000 years ago, the land underneath it sank under its enormous weight, like a mattress might under the weight of a bowling ball. Areas near the ice sheet, like New York City, pushed up marginally to make up for this. The land is returning to its natural elevations as a result of glacial isostatic adjustment now that the ice has melted. That indicates that the ground is sinking beneath the city. But new data regarding New York's declining trajectory has emerged from the team's investigation, some of it not entirely organic. It is associated with some human activity. As the lead author of a paper describing the discovery, Brett Buzanga, a postdoctoral researcher at JPL, stated in a statement, "We've produced such a detailed map of vertical land motion in the New York City area that there are features popping out that haven't been noticed before." LaGuardia Airport's runway 13, 31, and Arthur Ashe Stadium, where the annual US Open is played, are two locations in Queens where the Earth is sinking more quickly than usual. That is as a result of their development on landfills. Other sinking hotspots associated with landfills include Governor's Island and Rikers Island. The group also located areas where the ground is uplifting or rising at a rate of 0.06 inches, 1.6 millimeters, each year. The land is rising in East Williamsburg, Brooklyn. In addition, between 2016 and 2019, the land in Woodside, Queens, increased 6.9 millimeters, 0.27 inches. However, the trend has since stabilized. Groundwater pumping and injection wells, according to research co-author Robert Kopp of Rutgers University, may be a contributor to this temporary uptick. Kopp noted that more research on Woodside is necessary and added, "I'm interested by the possibilities of employing high-resolution INSAR to measure these kinds of rather short-lived environmental modifications linked with uplift." The next NASA Indian Space Research Organization Synthetic Aperture Radar (NASAR) project, scheduled to fly next year, is one of many studies that will keep looking into surface displacement around the world. This information may be very helpful for planning, given that sea level rise is happening all across the world. On September 29, New York City was hit by a historic rainfall storm. The city and its citizens were left in shambles as a result of the sudden and persistent downpour. The deluge of rain prompted flooding to rise in several areas of the city, turning busy roadways into perilous streams and making routine commutes difficult tasks. The rapid downpour quickly overwhelmed the drainage systems in Hoboken, Brooklyn, Manhattan, and Queens. Major thoroughfares changed into raging torrents, blocking traffic and flooding basement apartments. Residents were shocked and in despair after the floods. On September 29, New York State Governor Kathy Hochul issued the following statement in response to the unprecedented rainfall. "I am declaring a state of emergency in New York City, the Hudson Valley, and Long Island in response to the significant, dangerous rainfall that is currently impacting the region and is expected to continue for the next 20 hours. One of the greatest mass transit networks in the world, the New York subway system, experienced substantial delays, with subway lines in Brooklyn taking the brunt of the storm after collecting more than 100 millimeters of rain in just 3 hours. Commuters experienced significant disruption as subway services were temporarily suspended, redirected to alternate lines, or operated at reduced speeds. 44 of the 3,500 buses in New York were also impacted, which caused delays in bus service around the city. There were no exceptions to the turmoil that was occurring in airline operations. Up to the evening of September 29, LaGuardia Airport in New York City experienced 1,709 delays and 155 flight cancellations, according to information from the FlightAware website. Flooding caused Terminal A to be closed, which made the already chaotic situation worse. Major international hub John F. Kennedy International Airport also saw approximately 100 cancelled flights and 268 delayed flights, having an impact on the surrounding area. The National Weather Service issued considerable flash flood advisories via mobile phone alerts throughout the day, highlighting the intense character of this rainfall event. The storm changed the city's topography by forming fresh waterways in areas like Prospect Park. In Brooklyn's Prospect Heights, the water's effects included uprooted sidewalks, uprooted trees, and even sliced parked cars. Residents of areas like Windsor Terrace, which was built on the slope of a hill, were abruptly engulfed in floodwaters. While neighbors helped clean storm drains clogged with leaves, students had to wade through deep water to get to class. On Friday, the entire day was spent in extended pandemonium for the locals. Thankfully, the rain stopped by Saturday, allowing New Yorkers to return to their regular schedules. Although some Metro North branches encountered delays, subway service was eventually restored. Airport operations resumed as usual. Roads like Belt Parkway and Franklin D. Roosevelt Drive that had been shut down the day before were now open. In a historic storm, 28 people were saved, according to Governor Hochul at the conference on Saturday. The good news is that the storm did not cause any fatalities. The city's Emergency Management Office kept tabs on the scope of the flood damage and coordinated responses. In order to do this, it was necessary to remove fallen trees, clean up waste, and gather resident accounts of damage. Although there was no longer a flood watch in effect for the city, officials continued to exercise caution due to the possibility of future flooding. New York City has seen flooding more frequently recently. When Hurricane Ida devastated the city in 2021 and claimed 11 lives, similar scenes of inundation were seen. There are a number of causes for New York City's recurrent flooding problems, but one of the main offenders is the city's inadequate drainage system. Up to 1.75 inches of rain can fall within the city's drainage network each hour. Sadly, the storm on Friday considerably beyond this cutoff, with more than 2 inches of rain falling between 8 and 9 inches. The urgent need for significant expenditures in infrastructure improvements and creative solutions is stressed by experts as New York City struggles to cope with the problems posed by increasingly heavy rainfall events. The city faces the challenging issue of maintaining the city's infrastructure in response to the rising effects of climate change. So, how is flooding affected by climate change? Everywhere in the world, floods can occur at any time of the year. However, determining the connection between a specific flood and climate change is no easy task, according to experts, made challenging by the dearth of historical data, particularly for the most intense floods, which happen infrequently. It can be easy to blame global warming for all floods and other catastrophic disasters. Even though climate can have an impact on weather, weather itself is not climate. For instance, experts are certain that climate change increases the frequency of very hot days. They are less certain that more severe tornadoes are being caused by climate change. Like other disasters, flooding involves a variety of competing factors that may have a conflicting impact on its frequency and intensity. An increasingly significant component of the mix is climate change, which is making excessive rainfall in many storms worse. Precipitation, snowmelt, terrain, and the amount of moisture in the soil are some of the key factors that affect the formation of floods. Some aspects might be more important than others, depending on the type of flood. A river flood, often referred to as a fluvial flood, is when a river, stream, or lake overflowing with water, frequently as a result of significant rainfall or swiftly melting snow. A coastal flood happens when water overtakes land regions close to the shore, frequently after a violent storm that coincides with high tides. Flooding can also occur in places where there are no adjacent water bodies, particularly anywhere that sees heavy rainfall for a brief amount of time. Flash floods can form. As Greta Thunberg says, avoiding climate breakdown will require cathedral thinking. We must lay the foundation while we may not know exactly how to build the ceiling. You can suggest topics you want to see next in the comment section below. Please subscribe to Weather Collapse if you want to know more and be updated on the latest news about natural calamities or disasters happening all over the world, and don't forget to like today's video. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.